We now move on to a powerful panel discussion on integrating nature into the built environment, moderated by Rafael Annie, with contributions from global experts. Please welcome Dr. Adil Alexander, Executive Director, Al Adra Group, Jacob Matthew, Architectural Division Head, Emirates Float Glass, Mohammed Amir, MD, ICC MENA, and Mohammed Ismail, the product expert from George Fisher Chorus. Rafael, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As the introducer introduced myself, my name is Rafael Annie, and I work for the Project Management Institute. I'm here with esteemed guests, and I will let them introduce themselves. Dr. Dale, if you don't mind introducing yourself and give us just a bit of a background of what you do and about your organization, please.
Of course, yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. Myself, Adil Alexander. I'm the Executive Director of Al Adrak Group of Companies. So we started Al Adrak in 1985. So we are turning 40 years this year.
Wow.
So our core business is into construction. We have various disciplines: civil, mechanical, electrical, HVAC. We have done more than 780 completed projects within Oman. We have expanded to other parts of Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, and in India as well. And in the last maybe 7 to 8 years, we have diversified into hospitality, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and so forth. So I come from a background of civil engineering. That's my bachelor's, and I've done my master's in construction management. And yeah, that's a brief about me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And Mr. Jacob, please.
I am Jacob Matthew. I am the Architectural Division Manager for Emirates Float Glass. We established this company in 1995 at Abu Dhabi. It's a fully owned subsidiary of Dubai Investments. It's a multi-asset investment group based in Dubai. We have 3 divisions. One is Emirates Glass. We are into total glass solutions, and we also have a company in Saudi Arabia called Saudi American Glass. Yep. In Emirates Float Glass, we manufacture clear and tinted float glass. Apart from clear and tinted, we also make solar control and thermal insulation glasses. And we also have advanced solar control glasses, all under licensed technology from US. I have a vast experience of 31 years in glazing industry, particularly in solar control glasses. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. And Mohammed Amr, please.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I must say these are very comfortable chairs, to be honest.
It helps.
Yeah, thank you very much. And hopefully you will provide some great insights today to all the attendees. And I'm glad and honored to be part of this esteemed panel. And to be back again on the stage, I was presenting yesterday, so thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Amir, Managing Director with the International Code Council for the MENA region, based out of Dubai. And ICC is a leading global source of building codes and standards. In addition to offering a wide array of services related to testing, inspection, and certification of building materials. It's a US-based company. And we also offer training and credentialing programs, accreditation services, code consulting, and more. And we primarily work closely with the regulatory authorities and authorities having jurisdictions, what we call demand drivers, as well as engagement levers, consultants, contractors, manufacturers, standards development organizations, to benchmark and to advocate for more stringent compliance pathways that would always, keep pushing forward the construction industry and standardize our construction practices. So once again, thank you very much for having us and for all the organizers. Thank you.
No, thank you. And Mohammed Ismail, please.
Good morning. So I'm really happy to be here with the experts. So thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Mohammed Ismail. I'm working for George Fisher. GF is a Swiss company with established in 1802 for more than 200 years of experience in plastic piping system. So we are non-metallic company producing all type of plastics. And my background, I'm a mechatronics engineer, graduated 2010, and we have factories in UAE and in Oman. So we have experience for more than 45 years now in the GCC with local factories producing the products here locally.
Sure. No, thank you so much. It's actually very interesting because you all come from different aspects of the construction industry, and I happen today, Dr. Wazim, who is also in the audience, happened to take me to the YITI project, which I think is a very inspirational thing happening in Oman. So, as one of the developers, building in the country, what are you guys doing to embed sustainability into your project, and how are you going about it as an organization?
Well, at Al-Adrak, what we have done is sustainability is not embedded; it's part of the workflow. So how we do is from starting from concept till the completion, we embed the sustainability aspect to it. So, for example, we are doing this project in Sultan Haitham city, which is called Yenai Residences. The concept itself is using a biophilic design, which will give a wind tunnel effect, which will reduce the temperature within the precinct, which is pretty cool. And in terms of coming to IFC or the design, more detailed design of the project, we have more energy efficiency related meters, enzymes that will self-clean the AC ducts. So these will provide, these initiatives will provide clean energies and clean air to the end users. So yeah.
Oh, wow, that sounds innovative, and thank you for sharing that. And I would like to move in different direction. Yes, Jacob. Yes, your organization, you do glasses, and Dr. Adil has just explained how they bring sustainability into their project. In such a similar in a project like this, how do you go about the glass and the material that you use for that glass? Because you have to keep up with what they're trying to do.
Okay. As far as sustainability is concerned, we have taken it in two stages. One is one as a sustainable glass manufacturer, and another is with our sustainable glass products. As a sustainable glass manufacturer, we use 18% of the waste as recycled product. 12% of whatever we produce as a cullet, glass cullet, we reuse it into production. And apart from that, we also collect get 6% of the post-consumable cullet from the market from our own glass processors, which is coming as a waste. We also have done wastewater recycling, which is of much use, and we are using it for our own irrigation projects, as well as for raw material cleaning and for recycling. We also have done a lot of innovative ideas for power saving, and we also has been awarded as the best in a power saver company by the Abu Dhabi in a distribution company on that part. Apart from that, we are the first one as a golden listed company by the UAE government as a glass manufacturer. We also have done for an ICV certification, which contribute a percentage of 53% to our score. Our projects, when as a company, when you use it, these are all coming within 800 kilometers away from the project site to the manufacturer site. So you can also claim lead points for our products. Apart from that, we also have all our products EPD listed, and we also have a product life cycle and assessment for each and every product what we have. This will help you in achieving lead points as well as for BREEAM sustainable building development schemes. Additional credits you will get it when you are using it from us. This is about the company part. About the product part, we make solar control low E glasses. These solar control low E glasses pass the light, not the heat. It reflects the heat out, so your HVAC cost can be reduced to a great extent. You know, a normal clear glass will pass 83% of the heat and 83% of the light.
Yes.
We have glass which is having a 12% light to 76% light with a maximum heat of 50%. So this will help in cooling the building, avoiding the glare, avoiding the UV radiation, and also help you in achieving sustainability. Thank you.
No, that is very comprehensive and very impressive. Thank you very much. And then, if I were to come to you, Mohammed Ismail, before I come to you, because you also work in the material sector, right? And on the plastics and the piping area. What are you guys doing specifically to actually address this sustainability issue we have in the industry? Because construction is, from PMI research that we looked, is the most, is the dirtiest sector. It's the least sustainable. So what are you doing from a piping point of view?
From piping point of view, it's not only about the product itself, it's about the full process. So in GF, how we address that, it's starting from the process from A to Z. So starting from the selection of the raw material itself. So when we select the raw material, we keep in mind that sustainability is in DNA and it's a philosophy for GF. So we focus on carbon footprint, we focus on lead-free material, we focus on recycling, especially in case for some piping system that you don't need very high pressure, and whenever you can use a recycling material where you don't affect the performance of the product itself, we push that till 100%.
Wow, that's wonderful. And now, Mohammed Emma, I'll come to you. So we've talked about the materials, we've talked about the processes, but it's people that have to do this. And that's where you come into play, the codes that actually standardize these things. What are you doing as an organization to help people understand what sustainability means? Especially, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of room for improvement within the construction industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I would resonate with everything that has been said. And at ICC, we believe that the heart of any sustainable structure lies within its codes. And we're proud to say that as a building block, as a foundation for any structure, the more you comply or the more you abide to a stringent building code, the more you are able to design efficiently, to maintain, to operate. Even when you are during the disposal stages of building materials, it's done in the waste management part, it's done in the correct way. Codes like the International Green Construction Code or the International Energy Conservation Code that defines the energy efficiency standards, that defines the metrics for maintaining high performance buildings. Standards like the one we developed with a standard development organization, ASHRAE, to track the greenhouse gas emissions throughout the life cycle of the buildings, from cradle to grave, from the design, maintenance, operation, commissioning, handover, disposal. And not only from an environmental, not only from a structural perspective, but even the MEP side. If your codes like the plumbing code, the mechanical code, the private sewage disposal code that defines metrics or provisions on how you are disposing waste, how you are maintaining the overall welfare of the occupants, the indoor air quality. We've had a project, just to give you an example of how important some aspects, though they may sound simple, but they have a great impact on the occupants. We had a project with one of the clients where we were measuring the effect of the chemical emissions from tiles, from carpets, from the paint, and its effect on the occupants who are breathing in this kind of air. And by doing some analysis and proposing that there could be improvements in the materials that are used, from a chemical safety perspective, it was noted that within 6 months, the performance of the employees increased by 33%.
Wow.
So imagine this is in a commercial setup or like in a work setup. Imagine the effect if you apply this in schools, where students are most of the time, because of the heat, they spend their time indoors. So what would be the effect on that? And obviously, we always say, the building codes in its design and development, they cater to the building envelope. We may not necessarily tap on the system efficiency, like the HVAC systems being installed. It's probably more related to what we call the HRI, Standards Development Organization. But I always give the example of having a high efficient fridge, but you keep the door open. You're wasting energy, it's consuming energy, it's producing more waste. So the more you have an efficient, effective building envelope, the less pressure you put on the equipment being installed. That's on the building code side. And then comes the materials that are being procured and installed. The more you have well-defined compliance pathways for those building materials. I mean, construction is no longer about wet and dry construction anymore.
Yes.
It's no longer about concrete or steel. We will continue to use concrete and steel. The question is, what kind of concrete, what kind of steel grade, what kind of composites, what kind of innovative systems that are outside the box that are going to be procured and installed. This is what matters. So the evaluation side, procuring listed or evaluated building systems is crucial, because 40%, and I'm sure everyone heard about this, 40% or more of the CO2 emissions coming from the building sector. I don't want to open a can of worms and start talking about what has been achieved through COP, at least the COP 26, 27, and 28,
Yeah.
and the buildings breakthrough agenda, where we are targeting as at least the buildings sector or stakeholders to achieve near zero. I would say near zero, not net zero. I mean, it's
Yeah.
important to first achieve near zero in order to achieve net zero.
Yeah.
So near zero by 2030.
Sure.
And this would require, climate finance, financing, green projects and so on. We have a say, I think it's quoted by a French engineer that the new color of sustainability is not green. Everyone is talking green, green, I think, or as per the quote, the new color of sustainability is transparency.
I see.
How are we going to construct? How long are we going to maintain the efficient construction practices?
Yeah.
One more point, probably, I want to give the chance for my, esteemed panelists
Sure.
to continue, but a very important side, in addition to codes, to standards, to credentialing and benchmarking the personnel with the right skills and tools, the training and inspection, the installation of drywall systems, of fireproofing systems. One important aspect is the traceability. To make sure that the supply chain management is optimized. Where is this product coming from, and where is it going to be disposed, and how? So this is just an overall, or like an overarching look at the whole or the big picture of sustainability.
Now, that's a very good point. And what you've just laid out is that there are so many ways to look at it. And then there's the argument in the industry that sustainability costs a lot of money. So if I come to you, how do you guys ensure that you're still making sustainability core to the project you're delivering, and what impact has it had on your bottom line?
I think it's all about the vision. So as the family board, we decided that we wanted to have more sustainable practices within the construction industry. So maybe 15 years back, we have used grey water irrigation systems to channel our landscaping. So for all our camps, we have a grey water irrigation system which will channel for the for the grey water laying in construction, or for the landscaping for that particular project. So things like that. No paper initiative. So we have, because construction, you have so much drawings that has been issued to the site. So we bring in digital initiatives, digital signatures, digital drawings. Of course, we enable BIM. BIM, I think we've started since 2008. So we've come to a point that now in the level of BIM, as he explained, we are at the 5th generation. So that's where it gets more complicated because I think sustainability is all about creating an ecosystem. So you need to hire CAD draftsmen who has experience in BIM. You need to have engineers who have the ability to use BIM. So these enabling factors will increase your costs. And when it comes to construction practices, like we always use bulk material supply, which will reduce the carbon footprint. We use reusability. Most of our wastage that we have from our projects, we use it in other projects so that we can recycle that. So I think it's all about, it's a perception that sustainable construction is more expensive. But which is not the case. With the, I think with the knowledge that we have in AI and the technology has come so far that it's just a initiative or it's just a practice that needs to be followed. So if you instigate that between your employees, your clients, it will be much more fruitful. And of course, one more thing is that even regulatory-wise, certain regulatories have more, they tend to nod towards sustainable construction. Some do not. So this, instability causes that sort of different construction costs. So, and of course, I think incentivizing people who actually bring sustainable construction, especially by the clients, will definitely bring in a much better ecosystem. So I think it starts from the higher up, you know? Yeah.
No, that's very interesting. And Mohammed Ismail, he just said that if we have an ecosystem that actually work together, that it brings the total cost down. Is that what you're seeing from a piping point of view? How does the cost come down when you actually have an ecosystem? You know, your materials, your logistics. Does it make that business sense for sustainability from a piping perspective?
Of course, of course. Now, if we look at it from a holistic approach, and if we look to the total cost of ownership, the cost will be much down if we look at it from that point of view. Now, the focus mostly so far, it's to reduce the cost as much as possible, which is for now. But when you look for future, when we build some projects and some infrastructure, if we think about it from future, that these projects should stay for 50 or 100 years, that's totally different approach and totally way of thinking, totally different way of thinking. Now, for the sustainability and for all the, which is from raw material to the processes till the end of product, on the paper, it could look, yes, it's costly, but for long run, from a CapEx or OpEx point of view, sometimes they try to reduce the CapEx, but the OpEx will be very high. And the most important thing is that we need to shift the thinking to a different way, which is increase the CapEx now, so all the structures and the buildings will live much more and you reduce all the OpEx.
Well, thank you so much for that point. And Mr. Jacob, he just explained a scenario that actually is very interesting. And for yourself as an organization that works in the material space and the glass space, when you present those glasses, that the wonderful ones that you talked about, about how much they deflect the energy and other things, are they more expensive to the client? How do you pitch it to clients to make sure that they don't perceive it from a short-term point of view as too expensive? And how have you gone about, trying to educate the industry on how to apply these new systems?
As far as sustainability is concerned, I slightly disagree with the points that it is expensive.
Okay.
It is not expensive.
Okay.
Many of the building codes prevailing in the GCC countries are very lenient. Particularly in Oman, there is no building code. You need to select the glass not based on the performance, by the look and feel of the glass. People don't care about performance. People don't care about savings on electricity. People don't care about glare. They look for what they like.
There will be a building. I'm sorry for interruption. There will be an Oman
And
building
I
code
was
very
going
soon.
to
Yeah, yeah,
come
working
to
with
that,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'm still coming to that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure, sure.
Continue.
The most stringent codes what is going on in the GCC is in Kuwait. They have a very strong thermal insulation because of the extreme climates. They also want to have a very low solar heat gain, which is coming through the glass, so that their air conditioning can work efficiently, and they can also reduce the AC, the cooling
Usage.
loads.
Yes.
Now, as far as even if there is a building code, I don't think that sustainability has taken in the right spirit in Middle East, because the problem is many of the buildings where building codes are existing, they only want to comply the code. They are not taking glass as a whole item, because glass is an item where you need light and heat. So I have seen many buildings with a 5% or 7% light transmission and uses artificial light for for illuminating the building. That is not sustainability, because Middle East is a place where you have abundant solar exposure, solar light, and you should use the optimum light to illuminate the building without having a dependence on artificial lighting. So in total, as a product, you need to consider about sustainability, not only by abiding with the building code. This is my view about sustainability.
No, thank you so much. And Mohammed Ahmed, I'm going, of course, you're the next person I'm going to come to, because the point I'm hearing here is a point, we've heard in other parts of the world, that the codes, from a sustainability point of view, are very descriptive. They try to be super descriptive, which creates this, people having double views on, how to apply it and the effect. What are you, as a regulator, how are you guys approaching that to the point that was made earlier, that holistic ecosystem, bigger picture thinking towards a code? And you can also, I know that your presentation yesterday, you talked about the transition to get a building code in Oman. Can you talk about also some of the aspects you guys are doing there to take this bigger picture thinking into the new codes that you're coming up with?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, just to point out that we're proud that we're working with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning, in addition to the Expert Advisory Council, consisting of or comprising of authorities having jurisdictions here in Oman. Oman is a huge country. It's 1/3 the size of Egypt. Population is around 5 million. So there's a vast amount of land and potential for construction. And the terrain of Oman, you have different kinds of lands. So the code that's going to come out very soon, we're now midway, it's consisting of 6 codes. One main code, the Oman Building Code, which is around 900 plus pages, and then you have 5 specialty codes, tapping on specific aspects, and hopefully, it will expand more. And the code is a living document. It's not a one-time static document. Hopefully it will be updated every 3 years, contemporary as the I-codes. And this is where it starts to incorporate sustainable practices. So we will have, even in our code, standards related to, I was explaining yesterday, standards related to 3D concrete printing, standards related to off-site construction as a process, off-site construction as a material. Why is there convention? But the way it's being constructed, the digital design, the quality assurance protocols, the supply chain management, this is all new that increases the sustainability aspects. Now, I do agree that even if the code is prescriptive, although we are moving towards performance-based, and you will find a lot of performance-based provisions in the code 2024 I-codes compared to 2021 and 2018 and so on. Yes, there is a dilemma between balancing cost and innovation. And as it was mentioned, that how much upfront cost are you willing to pay in order to save in the future? Do you want to pay less and spend more on maintenance, or you want to spend more now and start focusing on research and development on how to have this building not only stay long enough, the longevity part, but the sustainable part? How can it maintain efficiency and effectiveness? And this is I agree. There's a very big challenge. There's still a lot of gaps in capacity building. If we have a very famous infographic that we always like to show connected gears in the building ecosystem, plan review, inspection, installation, maintenance, building codes, testing, inspection, certification, code consulting, they should all work seamlessly together to achieve the essence of sustainability. If I'm a manufacturer, I cannot manufacture a sustainable building system that I claim, or it is for sure, well, either through EPDs or LCAs, reduces carbon emissions, reduces the amount of time of construction, reduces the amount of labor. If I manufacture such a system and it gets installed inside with poor installation practices, it gets maintained poorly, we will not achieve the sustainable, part.
With a big S.
Exactly. If there is a building code in place, but it's not enforced or it's not implemented by the consultants or the engineers who are using the code, a lot of aspects related to sustainability will be missed. So yes, there's definitely a big challenge. We believe that the road to sustainability cannot be achieved without having a strong building code. When you have a strong foundation, this is where you start to build upon.
Absolutely.
So this is just an immediate answer or insight.
Yeah.
But I truly believe forums like what we are here is a very important part in bouncing off ideas, collaboration. You cannot, this has to be a national priority, not a single party priority that I claim or I am proud of having a sustainable product, but the system in place does not embrace or leverage sustainability across the whole ecosystem.
Oh, thank you so much. Conscious of time, and I know that I would like to also engage the audience. Any questions, please feel free to ask the panel, because I have more questions to ask, but I wanted to open it up in case any of you have any burning concern that you wanted to ask.
To the glass. When you decide the glass, do you use any energy modeling software to decide?
We have an energy modeling system and we calculate how much energy savings per annum. We also can work on the payloads. Whatever be the investment you have spent on glass, within how many years you can get it back. Return on investments, that software we have.
That's amazing.
We can work on that.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Any other questions? Well, if they don't have any, I have another one that is actually a burning concern for myself. And any of you can pick up. One of the criticism we've also heard is the greenwashing of projects. How have you all, gone about trying to address that, both internally and externally within your organizations? And any of you can, So I said there's been a big criticism in the industry, in the market, about greenwashing. How have you and your organization gone about addressing that, making sure that it's not greenwashing, but actually you're doing sustainable things, and you can actually get your own employees to buy into it and taking that message to the market? Because that's one of the biggest challenges we have in construction.
Yeah, I can take a stab on this and then probably give the chance for. The greenwashing is a very interesting aspect, and similar to like carbon credits. People sometimes have a perception that offsetting, if you want to offset carbon emissions, I'm gonna pay more, but I'm gonna do whatever it's like you're parking your car in a spot where you will get fined, so you don't mind. You park in the wrong space and you pay money. And one aspect to overcome greenwashing, and we're seeing this in the market, is through EPDs and LCAs, is to have documented like the nutrition labels that are being placed on products, to have them on the building systems or the components or the products that defines exactly how much emissions, or it outlines the specifications of the product. But yeah, again, it is a very big challenge. I guess manufacturers probably have more to say on greenwashing, but we don't want sustainability to be a badge that is just worn and people continue do what they're doing and maybe pay fines or so. We're seeing a lot of efforts in terms of carbon capturing in concrete production, which is great, reusing the carbon produced. But I agree, we don't want people just to make false claims about systems or components that are sustainable or environmentally friendly when they're not. And how to overcome this? I guess through regulations. There was proposals that we have been in discussions where to have EPDs to be mandated, which is a bit tricky because the problem with EPDs is data. You don't have enough data, or you don't have access to enough data to extrapolate and know exactly how is my product performing within the whole ecosystem of other systems. There's no benchmark. And that's why people sometimes misclaim, and in many cases when there are no regulations, authorities issue what we call a technical approval report, not a full approval, but they sign off on a declaration of conformity that is given by the manufacturer, whether this is greenwashing or not. I think there's more to be put in place in terms of regulations to control this. This is just like my humble opinion on.
Thank you. Any other person wants to make any?
Well, I think I'll just slightly tweak that.
Yes, sure.
I think the stakeholders need to be more educated in terms of how to identify what is greenwashed and what is actually the practice. And if they enforce certain external audits, which will help analyzing the organization, whether they are actually implementing sustainable practice or is just a show. So I think that will help also in reducing this criticism. But of course, I think, as we move forward, it's there in every industry. See, in tech industry, any smart devices or any apps will have AI as a symbolic gesture, right? So,
Yeah.
see, that's how, that's part of every industry. So in this industry also that may happen, but it can only be reduced by effective education, and the right auditing factors will reduce that sort of, people who are trying to showcase this. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Any other? Yeah, please feel free to.
Just to the point that the expert, Mr. Mohammed, mentioned, related to the EPDs as example,
Yes.
this is one of the things that GF is focusing on. So most of the systems and the products that we have, it has the EPDs. I hope that soon it will be more implemented into the specification or into maybe the regulation, that they will ask for that, because this will show a totally different point of view from the consultants, from developers, etc. Now, one of the things that I already mentioned related to the raw material, but now as a product itself, we have a couple of different products where it's innovate and it really save a lot of costs when it comes to energy, when it comes to water. So some problems or situation that we have in the region, which is the water loss that we have, especially in the underground networks. So GF addressed that with some couplers, special couplers to connect any network with any different network. Most of the leakages and the wastewater that we have, it's always between the joints. So they came up with an idea of a joint which is leak-free and it can connect with any different material, even if it exists. For the AC, as example, or the cooling, we came up with an innovation which is the underfloor cooling. Now, in Europe, we use the underfloor heating. Now, in the region, we started to implement the underfloor cooling, which is reduce a lot of electricity. And many more systems. I don't want to just go ahead with, we have many more, but yeah, this is one of the things that we address in GF.
And lastly, Mr. Jacob, we've heard all these wonderful things, and you had touched on some of the things that you're doing. I don't know what your views are on what has been said.
We have done EPD certification now we are in the process of doing cradle to grave certification.
Okay.
And the only country which is insisting by law to have cradle to grave certification is Egypt.
Wow.
Even at a construction hub like UAE or Saudi, it is not mandatory even to have a EPD certification. All our products are EPD certified. And to add one more point, what I would like to add is regarding the regional materials
Yes.
to reduce the carbon emission points.
Yes.
When we talk about sustainability, getting the material from US or from China or from any other place where sea freight and other carbon emission points are high, it is not sustainability. You should depend mostly on regional materials, and you should see that whether it is matching with your quality standards and how it can also reduce the wastage. You know, sea freight is very expensive, particularly for big sizes in the glazing industry. Since our plant is based in Abu Dhabi, we can give customized sizes which can reduce the wastage to our customers. Now, for glass industry, whatever you buy, you pay for the wastage also. And the normal industry standard is 15 to 20% wastage on the glass. If I give you the right customized solutions for the glass, we have customers like Shobha Facade and all. They work on 3% wastage, thereby saving almost 17% on the wastage part. Wow. And that 17% wastage is good for the industry and good for the customers.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you can see that these are practical examples. Yeah, you have another question, please.
A question in-house to Mr. Ani.
Please.
If you can explain to the audience the interface between project management and sustainability, especially in construction.
Sure. So, thank you for that question. Project management, so PMI, we are taking the topic of sustainability within projects very serious. So we have come up with new methodologies to manage projects, which is embedded in our new certification called the PMI Construction Professional, which takes the sustainability topic and embeds it across the entire process of a project. So from conception all the way to maintenance. To all the points you're talking about, from a material point of view, from an approach point of view, from a procurement point of view, from a process point of view, from from the choice of the subcontractors, because sustainability has not been something that the project manager needed to worry about. They needed to worry about time, cost, and quality. But of course, as we move to a world where financiers, because I say he that plays the piper dictates the tune, right? Financiers are now wanting to see the projects are creating the right impact in the community. Sustainability has become a very important topic that a project manager has to understand. So for us, that is how we're dealing with that topic, and that's how we're embedding it to make sure that it becomes part of the culture and not a nice to have. So, but thank you so much for your insights. I don't know, is there any other question? Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, to anyone that can answer, the question is from an investor or from a consumer perspective. I would like to know, definitely sustainability is a major, let's say, factor that plays a big role, but the question is, the most running two continuous costs are energy and water. He mentioned a bit about the water saving, and I would like to know what steps are you taking in this regard in terms of return on investment. Is it in terms of CapEx, EPEX, whatever, for me to look for the future. These are the most two things that I think the world is worried about, the continuous increase in costs of both energy and water.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for that. And I don't know any of you want to, I have my own views, but I'll let you guys answer before I chip in, please.
I will answer that from the point that I mentioned. Maybe the colleagues here, they can answer it in a different way, but related to the system that I mentioned, which is the underfloor cooling. Now, the cost of ownership is something, but when you look to the cost for the investor or the owner of the asset or the villa, as example, there is a total reduction, and we have a calculation for that, total reduction in the electricity bill monthly. So now, the conventional way of cooling, we know all the AC, it has its own advantages and disadvantages, but when it comes to the water, which is the underfloor one, you have a different way of cooling. You don't need to set the thermostat, as example, to 19. So in a place near the window, will reach around 24. So you set it in the thermostat at 24, and in the full room, it will be 24. So you have it, let's say, distributed in the right way. You don't need to invest a lot into the AC machines itself, the AHUs, FHUs, all that. So it's a way of just taking the water around in the ground itself, and this is the answer from my side.
Sure.
Exactly.
And any other answer?
Well, return of investment on water saving, right?
And energy saving.
Yeah, energy saving. So, see, I think precisely this was considered when we made the concept for Yenair. So, we wanted to bring in smart meters, we wanted to bring in energy efficient sensors on all the HVAC systems that we're providing for the units. So, which will give data points for the building information system, which will give that sort of input that how we can reduce such sort of artificial cooling and impose more green cooling. So I think it's basically how you see it. Whether if you're looking for a quick return, I think it will not be the case. If you look at I think a larger or a life cycle wise return, I think it will be a much more cost-effective way to move forward. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. Mohammed and Mr. Jacob, do you have anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I don't want to open a can of worms again, but but I'm going to mention something could be controversial, but just food for thought. There is a thoughts, especially for the end consumer, is that if something is sustainable, it's not consumer friendly. You notice people, for instance, I mean, I'm an electrical engineer, so you notice people talking about how light bulbs were more long-lasting 20 years ago compared to sustainable LED lamps. They stay for like 6 months and then they pop. And then you ask manufacturers, or you ask people in the market, they say, but they're sustainable. They are their life cycle is much less, but we are using components in the light bulbs that make them environmentally friendly. But they're not consumer friendly. I have to continue buying more. So there is this important aspect that manufacturers, or again, all the stakeholders need to keep in mind. If something is sustainable, which means it lasts, I mean, we're talking about buildings now that we are thinking of making them last for 100 years. So this is the definition of sustainability. How can you make something last for a long time, but at the same time, it's environmentally friendly? You can pass it on to generations, but you make sure that throughout the life cycle, you're not damaging the environment, you're not emitting CO2. So if I understood your question correctly, the end user at the end of the day, if you tell them sustainable, for them it's a matter of I pay X, I want this product to stay with me as long as it's possible. For them, if the product life cycle or span is slashed by 50% and it just dies out, for them it's not sustainable. Even if it's good for the environment, they would say it's not sustainable for me, I want it to last. So there's this balance where the end user is able to enjoy and experience the long-lasting effect of the product, but at the same time, this product, which is long-lasting, is not damaging behind the scene.
Sure. No, thank you so much. Mr. Jacob, are you adding anything? Sure. Please go ahead, sir. Okay. Now, if you look at from a project management point of view, this is one of the reasons why we created this new certification, because when you talk about energy and water, there are two specific resources that are used in a project. But to actually save on those, like some of the examples that was given earlier, I need to take a bigger picture view. And that starts from the inception of the project, right? But if you look at the way we construct today, we don't do it that way. It's an afterthought, which is why it's expensive. But and you will agree with me that a problem identified at the design stage is cheaper to fix and to implement than a problem downstream. That is the reason why, as an organization, we are working with organizations to take that bigger picture. So I can implement the right glass at the right price, the cooling system. I will use the right building, the right building technique. I'll bring in the right code and embed it into so that everybody understands it. What we've shown when you use some of the processes and the standards we're talking, because we're talking from portfolio management all the way just before the technical guys, Mohammed and myself, we're talking about that. When you implement this, we can actually show you from a data point of view that you get 20 to 30% efficiency improvement. And CII has, which is one of our partners, that when you use 10 of their processes across your project, you actually hit it about 30 to 40% efficiency on every metric. So those are the type of bigger picture thinking that we encourage as an industry, and which will give financiers, it's no more, hand in the air guess, right? It's now a data-driven proof point to say, if I use this, this is what happened. Construction, we've not been very good, amazing in actually showing our data in a compelling way. And this is what we are trying to do now. And no, but thank you so much for that question. Sure.
So I have a question from an interior design aspect for Mr. Muhammad. You said that the plan is to make sure a building is sustainable for about 100 or so years. But throughout generations and handing over to different owners, there will be changes made to a building. So what effects would you say those changes would have on the sustainability bracket of each building, let's say? I'm not sure if my question makes sense or...
Yes, I'm probably not the expert to answer from an interior design perspective. I mean, building codes, we don't deal with interior design.
Or even just in a general construction
You're talking about maybe retrofitting. How can we upscale or retrofit buildings to accommodate more sustainable approaches?
Or even with expansions to buildings, adding an extra extension to a
extension or changing occupancy, turning a warehouse into a hotel or a hospital. It's a great question. I may not have a direct answer or an immediate answer, but retrofitting on a macro level is a big issue in the construction industry because of the cost. Everyone, the cost of retrofitting a building gets dispersed among the contractor, the developer. There's no mandate probably from the authorities on who to retrofit. I mean, we have an example of, like, for example, the ACP, the aluminium cladding panels, which are flammable, and who would retrofit existing buildings in order to make sure that we are installing more fire-resistant cladding systems. Maybe in new buildings, we're phasing out of flammable cladding panels. But to your question, changing occupancies, retrofitting, yes, there will definitely be a cost implication on that.
And also, but also, does there currently exist, or is there a code in development in regards to such a topic, or?
We have on the I-codes existing building codes.
Yeah.
And part of the existing building code, there are clauses related to building restorations. But that's from a legal and technical perspective. Cost-wise, the only thing that I can think of right now as cost implication on...
Or even effects on the environment.
The effects on the environment in terms of
Sorry, guys. Conscious of time. You
Okay,
could,
sorry.
you could, no, you could
Off-
take
we can
that.
discuss
No,
this.
no, you could take it, off the stage
offline.
and
Sorry.
then discuss it.
Yeah, let's
further.
connect. Oh yeah, offline, and then we can talk about it.
But I wanted to thank, because I could see the organizers giving me signs. I want to thank all of you for participating today, and a round of applause for the panelists, please.
Thank you.
And I'm sure they will be open to answer any questions you will have afterwards. For myself, please feel free to ask questions about this new PMI certification that I talked about, the PMI Construction Professional, and I'll be more to provide more information. But to our panelists, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.